Sundress and a golden smile. She's a sweetheart in a little while, and she speaks soft like a lullaby. And she just turned 23.
Well, hello there, handsome.
Good morning, sunshine.
I never know what to say now because that's your like intro to the show. You know, the Good Morning Sunshine. I'm like,
Yep.
what do I say?
You're like, I gotta find myself one.
I know, right? I know. Buongiorno. I can say that.
Buongiorno.
Hey, buongiorno. You sono Mario. See, that might work.
Try
How
it.
are you this beautiful early Friday morning?
I'm great.
It's Friday.
What a time! What a time to start an episode.
You know, normally we record on Thursdays, but
Yes,
it
we
is literally Friday morning right now. And within hours, you guys were all going to hear this episode within hours of this actual day, because yesterday was a little bit of a cluster.
Tell me about it. Talk
Dude,
to me about it.
Well, here's the issue. I'm going to blame you, first of all, for not you. You had an appointment in the morning, so we had to push the episode, which is normally done at 7 a.m. Central Time, which is 8 o'clock Eastern. So that's normal what we do. You said you couldn't do it because of the appointment. I was like, that's totally fine. I'm going to work out. So I got home from the workout, and I said I had a couple work calls that I had to do. And then you're like, hey, I'm ready. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And the second we started recording, Dante woke up. And he normally wakes up like at noon. And because we were recording, not because we were recording, you know, things were off. So I'm like, okay, let's try this. So we tried it. I was off. Obviously, instantly. Like, Pat recognized that I was off because it just wasn't going right. And he said, let's just do this at 1:30 because I had to go live, right?
Yeah.
So you had to go
I have to
live.
go live from 12 to 2. Yeah.
Right. So then I was downstairs. I was really worked up already because of my day. And I was having something to eat. And you text me, you're like, hey, I'm ready to go. An hour almost sooner than normal that you were supposed to do.
Half an hour.
Half hour.
Because we said
Okay.
2:30.
ADHD, half hour is an hour. Hour is 2 hours. That's the way it works. So, and then I was like, holy crap, now he's ready. So I'm trying to eat. I tried to cook fast. I undercooked my rice. I got upstairs. I ate. I had 2 bites, and I couldn't eat it. Got on live. I said, okay, well, Dante is sleeping again. He's not going to be up again. A minute into the recording, Dante wakes up again. And Pat's like, okay, let's do this. Here's the thing. When Dante is up and doing his day, he loves hanging with me. He loves being around me. So it's really hard, even when I'm working. He does better when I'm working. But and then I started recording, and then instantly I got a phone call and a text message, and Pat hates it when I'm on the phone and I'm like texting, and I'm like, sorry, dude. He's like, dude, you're not here. And then all of a sudden I went off the rails. I was done. I was like, dude, I can't do this. I'm mentally completely stressed out. I can't function properly right now, and it's really annoying me. And this is what friendship is, you know. Although this show is really important to us, and we want to make sure we get the show out every week and talk about different topics. Instantly, Pat's like, dude, take the day for you and do what we have to. I said, I don't know if we can do a show this week. And Pat was like, let's just do it tomorrow morning. Let's do it later on, whatever works for you, and let's do it. And that instantly, the second Pat said that, put all the anxiety to rest. The second he said, hey, dude, I got you. Like, it's not a big deal. If he would have made it a big deal, it's like, dude, we have people that listen. We know we can't miss a show, da-da-da. My anxiety would have went up. But he noticed that I was off, and what true friends, what true partners, what true anything, they're like, hey, I got you. You know, the whole, every relationship is 100%, you know, it's a 50-50 split. You've heard of that, right? The 50-50 split. Well, when one partner's 20, the other partner kicks in, and then that's 80. You know what I mean? Like, and in this situation, it was beautiful. So first of all, I'm going to start the show with saying, thank you for understanding me, Pat. You're an amazing friend, and like, we've become like brothers through this entire process. But everyone should have that in their life. Have 1 or 2 people in your life that you can be brutally honest with your mental health with, because there's people in my life that I'm like 5% honest with my mental health, and they belittle me for my mental health. They make fun of it, you know, and I can't get rid of these people. It sucks. I can't get rid of these people because they're family. And it's really hard for me. And
It is. When it's family, dude, it's tough.
it's so hard.
It's really
so
tough.
first of all, thank you and good morning to everyone. We were going to do this at 4:30 in the morning Central Time, and then my partner's
Yeah.
like, "Why don't you just do it at 5:30? You still have time." Because my ADHD clock is different than most people.
Yeah.
And Pat's like, "Hell yeah, let's do it at later." But thank you
Because
so
that's
much.
the reality. I mean, people are listening. We still have to put out a show, but I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't have to be. If we couldn't do it yesterday, we didn't have to do it yesterday. And on top of that, I had technical difficulties on mine too. I broke my iRig.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that's why, if you're watching us on YouTube,
You're wearing
I
the
don't have my
cyborg. You're wearing the cyborg headphones this morning.
yeah, but still, I can hear you beautifully.
So,
It's still good.
good morning, sunshine, and good morning to everyone, and welcome to the Guided Podcast. And Pat, it's early, so I hope you have a topic for the day.
I do actually, and again, so I since last week I've been taking a lot of notes. I feel like we're able to stay on track with notes, and we're able to stay structured because sometimes we get a little sidetracked, right?
And full disclosure to everyone, I normally take my Adderall an hour from now. So this is Mario on nothing, just so you know.
El natural.
El Naturado. So this show could go anywhere.
It could go anywhere, but that's why we have notes. I'm going to keep you structured, buddy, because
Yes,
I want
let's do it.
to talk a lot about a few things here. It's one episode, obviously. The title of this episode, I'm naming it "They Were a Lesson, Not a Lifetime."
Got it.
So
They were a
what do you think?
lesson, not a lifetime.
They were a lesson, not a lifetime. What do you think we're going to talk about today? If I
Probably
tell you
something
the
to do
title.
with school, like lessons. Oh, like something you learned in school at a young age, and then you just brought with you, like math.
Yeah, like the Pythagorean theorem.
The who? Say it
theory.
again. No,
The-
say it again.
Damn it.
I want to hear it again.
This is why
Pangu.
I learned the lesson.
Go.
I learned the lesson, but
To
the
never say it again.
I never
You-
used it.
You learned I
The-
learned a lesson not to say Pangamian theory.
A lifetime. The Pythagorean theory.
The Pythagorean theory. Go.
No, it's not.
What?
It's the Pythagorean?
Pythagorean.
Pythagorean? What?
Okay, let's get to the topic.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You learned that in school. It doesn't follow you forever. It's a lesson, not a lifetime.
So we're talking
Right.
about school today.
No, we're not.
As 500 people just clicked off of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I'm staying around. No, this episode is about outgrowing people. It's not about the ego. It's about the evolution. I want this episode to be a space where we talk about how hard it is to let go.
Okay.
But when you still love somebody, because letting go of somebody when there's no more love, easy, right? Well, not that easy, but it's easy.
Yeah.
But letting go of someone that you love, and it reminds me, this could be useful in relationships, friendships. If we lost our friendship tomorrow morning, I think there's still love here. You know what I mean? There's still love here. We wouldn't, leave out of anger or anything like that. So if you would tell me tomorrow morning, hey, Pat, you know what? I'm done with the podcast. I'm done with you. That's something that I would find extremely difficult, but if we got into an argument and we fought and the relationship was just toxic, I'd be like, you know what, Mario, please, the door's right there. Get out of my life. Right.
What if something was bad for you and you knew? Like the toxic relationship you were just saying, like if something every single day you knew was bad for you and you still missed it when it was gone, like what's wrong with you then?
Because
You know what I mean?
the love is still there, right?
The love is still there. Like warm buttered bread right now for me. Warm buttered bread since I'm on this cutting diet. Like I think about it a lot.
There you go.
Not kind of the same, but kind of the same because warm bread with butter, like a toast in the morning, dude, with a little bit of butter on it. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.
So not the same. However,
Not the same.
you're still hanging.
Not
on
the
it.
same. But it's a great example of butter bread.
No, it's not.
I'm saying this because I think that sometimes that there's people that change you and they're not meant to stay with you. Like they're just there to teach you a lesson. And there's a great song about this from Justin Bieber. It's called "A Lifetime,"
Oh, really?
and that's kind of what he talks about.
Do
Love
you
that
want to
song.
sing it? Would you like?
I don't
sing
know
a
by
verse?
heart.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I do know by heart, but I'm just not going to say it.
Yeah, no, it's a really good topic, Pat, and I really do like that because even these days, when I think about something that went wrong, I used to ask myself a lot of whys, like why is this happening to me? Why? I've been so good. I've been doing all these really good things. Why is this happening to me? And then I read the book, obviously the self-compassion book that I always talk about, but there was places in there to not only ask yourself, what am I learning from this situation? And that's exactly what we're talking about this morning is that lesson, the lesson. So these days, although my knee jerk wants to go to why, like, why the hell did that happen? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And nowadays I'm starting to train myself and I'm getting really, really good at it. It's like, what is the lesson here? What did I learn? I don't do this anymore. If I do this, the end result is going to be what happened the 4 other times that this has happened. So getting into a relationship where you're seeing, we've talked about the red flags. We've talked about the different things you see in the beginning. As an anxious attachment, I think you are a little bit skewed on those things when you get into relationships just because you just want to be loved. It's like the new puppy theory. You get a new puppy. It's like, oh my God, even though it's going to be a 100, like a Saint Bernard. Can you imagine a Saint Bernard when it's a puppy, dude? It's this little fuzzy little ball that you're holding, and it turns into this 200-pound drooling, shitting machine eventually, And, it's like at the beginning of the relationship, everything's about love. And you're not thinking about what lesson is this going to be or what is this? It's always about love. So I'm interested to hear your theories on this.
Well, first things first, let's be honest. Sometimes, you still love them, but you can't grow with them. You love them, but you can't grow with them. And I was talking to this with a friend of mine this week, and you can be in a relationship where you're happy. Everything is like, okay. It's kind of like, I don't want to say stagnant, but it's just like linear, right? It's just like,
Sure.
It's linear, stagnant. It's not going anywhere. And I was telling him this, I was like, I realized, I think in some of my relationships where that's what would happen. And now that, you've been following me for the past 2 years, I've been putting so much energy on the growth part, personal growth, physical, mental, emotional. I'm really trying to better myself. And I realize the impact that it's had on my life. So sometimes being with someone and not having the space to grow, I think can really work against you.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be in a relationship and be able to grow, be able to explore, be able to discover, be able to do a bunch of stuff. And I feel like a lot of relationships today, they don't. It's like, hey, this is our life, this is where it ends for us. So let's just, gain a few pounds, do our little routine, stop going out. We're just, they get into that comfort. And I think people fall in love with that. They fall in love with the whole comfort of things. And the love, is there, but they're just not doing anything. They're not changing. They're not getting better. And so I think that's why when somebody realizes that and they want to move forward, they want to go into something else, it's difficult because the love is still there. It's not, there's no hate to motivate you to move on. There's no anger. You know what I mean?
Would it be nice to go back to like middle school when it was career day and they asked this small child, this innocent person, what are you going to do when you grow up? And they had, you talked about all these ambitions and goals. Like, wow, I'm going to do, and or your parents, Pat, you can do anything you want. Anything you set your mind to, you can do, Pat. And you're a little child. You're like, thanks, Mama. And you're like so excited. And then just as you said, you get into you go through life, you become an adult, you start, going through it, and you get beat down by society, and you get beat down by all these adulting tasks that you have to do on a daily basis, and you get into a relationship, you're like, okay. And they, at the beginning of the relationship, like, you're amazing. Like, you have I love your sense of humor, and you're so kind to me. And then you said, it starts to fade, and you're like, I remember then, but I'm just going to settle. I'm going to settle and settle. Imagine you can go back after like 10 years of being with someone, or 2 years of being with someone. You're like, well, dating sucks, so I'm just going to stick with this person. Imagine you can go back to career day and it's like, what happened? What happened to you? Like, you had all these ambitions and now you're just like, well, man, I'm just going to settle.
And not just career, like anything, like even just going on a trip, you know, like if you ask a kid, where would you like to go one day,
yeah.
you know, and they're like, oh my God, I want to go to Greece, you know, and then you
No,
ask them later on, you're like,
no kid ever said that, dude.
no, I know, but just
Timmy,
Disney. Let's say Disney.
Timmy, where do you want to go? I want to go.
Santorini.
I want to go to Santorini, Greece, when I grow up. Kids,
Okay, Disney.
and then he gets beat up that afternoon from all his other
Yeah.
friends. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So let's call it Disney. And then, you know, years go by, the kid's never been to Disney, and then you ask the adult, like, have you ever been to Disney? And you know, I outgrew that shit. You know, I'm older today, and like I just like you said, those things that happened that your eyes lit up as a kid, they don't really anymore as we get
So
adults.
obviously, everyone now that's listening knows that you want to go to Santorini, Greece, because that's the
Yes.
first place. That's the first place you went.
100%. I wanna
Have you
go.
ever been to Disney or to Paramount or to?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I've been like
Not Paramount.
four times.
We went to Universal a few years ago with the kids, and it was so like you feel like a kid, you know, like you become a child, you know,
Oh, yeah,
and
of
it's
course.
so much fun. The Simpsons. Have you been to Universal?
Yeah.
Universal Studios, like the
Done them all.
Simpsons, the
Epcot.
The Simpsons. Oh my god,
Simpsons.
I just said that with a French accent just to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
The Simpsons area, when you go in, it looks like Moe's Tavern, you know.
Oui, le
Why?
Simpsons.
But yes, I'm totally there with you, dude. But that's right, the glimmer, that hope, that wow, the wow factor. Society and life just beats the shit out of that, and it's hard. By the time you get to you know, your mid 30s and you're in a relationship, and maybe you have a kid, and then you have a mortgage and you have everything else, that spark, it's like a science fiction movie. It's out in the universe somewhere, and you have to go find it.
Yeah. But it's the same. I feel like it's the same wow when you realize that someone is no longer good for you, you know, where
Yeah.
they don't bring you the peace that they once brought you. Does that make sense?
But
Like
it's
that
scary.
same wow.
That's
It's
still,
scary, yeah, but it's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same wow moment. It's like, holy crap, yeah, this is not for me. You know?
Yeah. It's funny. I was yesterday when I was not upset. Yesterday when I was stressed out about the day and I went to lay down in bed, I turned on Pixar Inside Out 2. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't watched it yet. No, I
So
want to
good.
watch it though, because
It's so
I think
good.
anxiety's in that one. No,
Anxiety's in that one, yeah. And they were looking for Riley's like core memories, but they were at the back of her mind. And when we were talking about going to find that thing, that glimmer of hope again, there was like one of the scenes, they were like at the front of her mind, and there was like this little tiny little white speck at the back, and that was where they had to go, and they had to travel there. And they were scared. Like they were like, we can't, like, what if we get attacked by bears or we get this and that, you know? Same thing. When you're in those relationships and you're in those situations and friendships, whatever the case may be, when you feel lost and you're getting beat down and you know that this is a bad situation, like that's scary to have to go and try to do a lateral shift into something that's more important for you. It's so terrifying because comfort is great. Like I'm in my okay, this is comfortable for now, you know?
Yeah, it's funny you say that actually, because one of the notes I took on this episode, I wrote, there's some lessons in life that are disguised as love.
Oh yeah, that's
Like some of the lessons.
That's a great one, dude. Yeah,
and I wrote down
they're
like, not
called
every
narcissists.
Well, okay, so here's the thing: is it narcissists or is it a person with narcissistic behaviors?
I think everyone has narcissistic behaviors at some. I mean, I think a
It's
narcissistic
the behaviors.
Yeah, it's the behavior.
Yeah.
A narcissistic behavior is survival in a certain extent. Like in a certain way, it's at the beginning of a relationship. You're like trying to figure out, like, okay, what's your way of life and what's my way of life, and how do we commingle? Like that's kind of like normal in a relationship, like the gives and takes. A narcissist is going to take all your, oh yes, we love you, and yes, oh no, hiking, I love hiking. Let's do all this, and then you're comfortable in 7-8 months, a year, and you're moved in. Your toothbrush is in the bathroom, and all of a sudden the narcissist hammer comes down and says, "Fuck you. I am taking your soul," and then you're screwed. You know.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Fuck your hiking."
Yeah, fuck your hiking. Let's go hiking, and push them a little bit so they can break their ankle or something. You know.
Yeah.
So, but
Are they crazy? But that's what I put in the notes. Like just not every connection is your forever person. Some are just there to wake you up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about similar things on different episodes, right? And I wrote relationships that broke you might have also taught you boundaries, you know. So a lot of time, I think people coming out of a relationship, they'll say things like, "Oh my God, what a waste of time that was,"
Yeah.
right? What a waste of time that was, or "Oh my God, I just wasted 2, 3, 4 years of my life." You didn't waste them. You didn't waste them. There's always a lesson learned from that, and most cases, that's what it taught you. It taught you maybe self-confidence, maybe it taught you boundaries, maybe it taught you what you like, what you don't like. And I think when you're coming out of a relationship, you're coming out of a breakup, it's very, very hard to see those things. Remember me from the last situation? I wasn't seeing.
No, don't remember.
Dude. Yeah, of course you do.
I was
wasn't
waiting for you to
seeing
be
shit.
done talking because I was going to ask you about it, actually.
Yeah.
But
You just don't
yeah.
see that stuff.
No, you don't. But
But-
I want before you go on a little bit too far, like talking about lessons. Okay, the relationship that we're talking about right now, that we know, you know what relationship I'm talking about with you, and I can't, one of these days you're all going to hear about this situation once we're in studio together, but. That relationship, you were deeply in love, and it's been gone for a while, knowing that that's never coming back. And you're still, I know that there's probably a little spark within you that there's still love there, but how do you move on with something that is so, when you know that there was a true connection there? There was like, what if that, when you feel like, wow, this is my person, and when we're together, this is my person. But she is not ready, so she can't bring herself to the table the way you need her to be. How do you move on with that? Because it's nothing like, it's not something like, well, like you just said, well, the relationship's getting old and we're just going to move on. That's one thing. But how do you move on from that love that is still there? And in your heart, you're probably thinking, damn, or in a next relationship. When you're in the next relationship, you're like, wow, I found someone that is my person. Is that easier? Is it like your dog dies and a couple months later you get another dog and it just replaces that love? Like, I don't know, like what lesson do you learn from going from one relationship to the next?
Well, number one, I think I'm still learning from that one, even though it's gonna be a year soon. It's gonna be a year soon.
Is it a year already?
Well, no, it's gonna be a year in
Almost?
November.
Damn,
So
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Emotionally and mentally, to me, that feels like it's been like 3 years, because so many emotions and so many thought process went in through with that one.
No, it's just it's gonna be a year. I've learned lessons. I don't think you actually 100% move on. Like I can't say I'm ever gonna move on from that, because like I forgive, but I don't. You know that expression, I forgive, but I don't forget. That's kind of where I'm at. And one thing I know is that, number one, I'm never gonna forget her. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. It's just impossible. I have to live with it. But I think that you get better at coping with it. That's really what happens.
Do you ever play house in your head? You ever play house in your head? Like, you ever think about it so much, like, what if we could have done this? Like when you play,
Oh, well, the what if, I think the what if is what kills people more than anything else.
Yeah.
When you're stuck in that loop where you're like, what if that wouldn't have happened? Mm-hmm. What if, because the reality is, like, without jumping into the story, she made a huge mistake.
100%.
Right?
100.
And that's what destroyed the relationship. A really big mistake. But it didn't take away what we had. Like, what we had was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But the mistake that she made was so monumental that, like you said, you just can't go back to that. You just can't go back to that. The disrespect is, it's just, it's so up there. So the love, I'm not going to lie, is still there.
Yep.
But the lesson is bigger.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this episode is about, right?
Right. The lesson I've seen in you, though, that you've learned and that you take into action every single day is incredible. Like, it's incredible. Like,
What do you mean?
Like, I just learned. You can see the things that you learned from that heartache. It's not like crying is a bad thing, but the tears you shed in a heartache every tear is a little lesson that you're learning, that I don't want to shed this type of tear again. Having emotions in a relationship and crying about something is perfectly fine. Actually, it's really, really good. It's your body telling you, listen, we need to get these emotions out. But when you are hurt, and you are hurt to the point of like soul crushing tears, those are lesson tears because you don't go back to those. You know, you don't want to go back to those. And I think in attachment styles, where both of us were anxious attachment, both of us are anxious attachments, but we learned secure and avoidant attachment in the process too. I think there was lessons there that you learned because she was so different than you, that there's things like, you know what, this is never going to happen again. This is never going to happen again. Some of the things I ask you, Pat, on what would you do in a situation, and you tell me, sometimes those are like lob balls that I'm throwing at you. You know, it's like, I want to see what he says with this one. And I like doing those things to you once in a while because to me, it keeps me in check to knowing that, okay, he's good, he's solid. Because if you say other things, that's where I know as a friend that I have to jump in and maybe really, and then I kind of make sure that you stay on track, because we all need that once in a while. We all need people to make sure that emotion, love, and everything else stays on track because we know what makes them happiest.
Happiest. You got that French accent there. I agree, though. I agree.
So
I agree.
That's what I think.
And I think you're right. And you know, this kind of brings me to the next point that I wrote down. I think makes a lot of sense is that, you know, the guilt of moving on. That there's a part of that that's in there. There's a guilt to moving on, as weird as that sounds. And sometimes I think that we feel bad for choosing ourselves. You know, somebody said this on my live yesterday. Like, well, I feel bad. I feel, you know, pretentious making decisions and thinking about me for once.
Yeah.
People confuse prioritizing yourself with being too egocentric.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that is so, and I'm going to say this very, very loud for the people in the back. That is so wrong. They're two different things.
Yeah.
Egocentric and thinking and putting yourself first are not the same.
Yeah. I have a great example for that guilt though, Pat. And so my dad passed away 5 years ago of cancer. And I miss him every day. My dad was my hero. I loved my dad more than anything in the world. Okay. Because he was always there for me. I have my dad's hand tattooed on my shoulder because my dad had his hand on my shoulder every day of my life. Okay. And when he got cancer, they were living in Italy. I brought my parents both back so I can be here with them and take care of them as much as I possibly could. But over the years, he had the ups and downs, as cancer does to you. It gives you your loved ones back for 5 minutes, and then it takes it away, right? So my dad did really well for 5 minutes, and then you could see this person, this strong man, just declining over the years, over the months, just declining and becoming a shadow of what he was, right? And my mom was there from, God bless my mom for being there for him every single day, feeding him, doing the things like that, love for giving to someone every single day. And the day he passed away, we were all together and he passed away, and it was like that was an end of a chapter of a beautiful 80-year-old life. You know, he had a beautiful life. And I remember all of us went for lunch after that day. Like they brought him away, and then we went for lunch. Okay. And we were sitting there, and there was this weird feeling at the table, especially for me. And I know my mom was probably feeling it, but it was like, you felt good. You felt good because there was something that came back to us. Like, it's like every day I had to be there for my dad. My mom had to be there every day, but tomorrow I can sleep in, or I can go do something for myself. Right. There was guilt 100%. He was like, should I feel bad right now? Like, I don't want to feel bad right now because
I should be crying right now.
I should be crying. I should be like really hurt. But it was like liberating, which is like, oh my God, I can be me again. My mom doesn't have to get up and make 2 meals and feed my dad today. Mm-hmm. You know, she can eat lunch and she can watch a show and put her feet up, you know? So that's when you were talking about guilt. Like, I mean, that's pretty extreme. And, you know, it's like, yes, losing someone is hard, but that guilt you feel is almost like planting that garden again. You're like planting the garden. You're putting that seed back in the ground, and you're like, I wonder what's going to come from this. It's not guilt. It's a rebirth, you know? So,
but you know, there's a name for that, right?
What?
It's called survivor's guilt.
Oh, survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Guilt. It's survivor's guilt.
Survivor's guilt.
It's a survivor guild.
Survivor's guilt is when you think that they helped you so much that you're supposed to feel wrong about letting them go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what survivor's guilt is.
But I think that's, to your point, you lose someone and you feel better for moving on, or it's like, you know what, I'm done with this person. I'm going to move on. I'm going to go do what I have to do in life. And that's not guilt. That's what you were put here for, Yeah. I love what you said a minute ago, though, like in relationships where, when you're in a relationship and you're like, well, we're supposed to do this. If you look at 100 relationships do this. So that's what we're supposed to do. I think that's where people get complacent in life, where it's like you get into a relationship, you move in, your toothbrush shows up, you're sharing half of your dresser because that's their clothes, and then you get married and you do this and you do that. Through that entire process, if you're not doing things to stay you and to stay in that person that you were your whole life, I always go back to the whole driver's license things. People ask me this sometimes, Pat, and they're like, well, he does this or she does that. I said, hey, what name is on your driver's license again? I just didn't know. And no, the driver's license thing it always gives that person a kick. It's like, that's your name on there. Like that's the only person's name on there is your driver's it's your name. And people forget that. I think they just like, it fades away and it's like, this is what we're supposed to do.
No, you're right. And I think it's a huge problem. There's a lot of couples out there that say, hey, look at this couple. They do this. Mm-hmm. But there's also the other couples that say, hey, they don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. They compare themselves so much instead of just being, you know what? Hey, look, this is us. Like this. Yeah. Hey, like
this
the
works.
Show. This is us.
This works.
Is us. It's unique, and that's how we do things. It might be different, but this is us, and that's what we like. And they don't compare themselves to anybody. Yeah. Which is an amazing thing to do. But
and it's always hard in a relationship to talk to your partner about that, or to talk to your loved one about that, where it's saying, hey, this is important to me. So, and I mean, if you're having those thoughts and you're thinking about, I'm just going to be complacent and I'm just going to just like go roll with the punches, that's where therapy comes in, and listening to the Guided podcast. Start with therapy and then listen to the Guided podcast. Guided podcast is more of your like refresher, and follow Patrick Gaudet on TikTok and Instagram, because that's where you need to do some homework. But therapy, it actually is a place where you can share those feelings and try to work it out. And it's always funny because I go to couples therapy, and sometimes I'm like, are you going to say anything? Like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing here? And it's basically a room for communication, right? It's a communication room where you're able to express yourself. And the perfect example of that is watch the movie Old School with Will Ferrell. And at the beginning where they have their relationship thing, it's so funny. It's great.
It's funny you say that, because yesterday I had a conference call. We were 6 on the call. And at some point I asked the group, I said, who here has done therapy?
Yeah.
And
who?
The 6 hands went up.
They did?
Every single person.
Nice, dude. We're getting there. Explain more about this 6-way. What is this? What were you talking about?
So basically, this is not for promotional purposes. We have, my Discord, the private Discord that I have.
Yes.
There's different tiers, and in one of those tiers, I've included a once a month call with the members.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
And so every month we get together. It was the first time we did that. Every month we're going to get together and we're going to, talk about the progress, talk about all that stuff. So it's one of the perks of being subscribed to me on TikTok.
That's awesome. Someone asked me yesterday on TikTok if I have a Discord. They're like, do you have Discord? And I'm like, yeah, I do. They're like, what is it? And I gave them yours. And they're
there
like,
you go.
No. Do you have one? We're already in Pat's. We already are in there. We're wondering if you have your own. I'm like, no, I don't do that stuff. Yeah. I say I stay in Pat's.
Exactly. That's where
I live at Pat's house. I live in the basement of Pat's house.
You're rent free.
Yeah, I live in the basement rent free.
So, hey, listen, I want to come back to what you said about your dad before. Because I think the whole thing with your dad and relationships is pretty relatable, if I may.
Yeah, yep.
And I want to talk about that because it's, I want to say letting go with grace. Mm-hmm. You called it before. You said you felt bad, right? But what if you just saw the way you looked at it, like the perception of it, where instead of feeling bad, you say, hey, this is me letting go with grace, instead of being like, should I feel bad or no. I think if you change that perception, maybe it can help you.
I think in the moment, like letting go with grace when he was passing away and when we were all together, I think that was like, I felt grace then. Like that was more of like, I know what's happening. Like when it's visual, you know, it might
Yeah.
here's the guy that would, you know, take me out, you know, camping, and we would do stuff together, and he was the, you know, the beacon of everything in my life, you know. And here's this man laying in a bed, and I'm letting go. I actually, there was some peace there, knowing that the next thing that was going to happen is that he was going to take his last breath. As morbid, I hope that doesn't sound morbid to our listeners, but I knew that was the next step. His pain was going to be done. His next step was going to be, you know, he's not here. The pain was done. The pain he was going through was ridiculous. So in a relationship, if you can see that grace, letting go with grace, you just said, you know, if you see you're in pain in a relationship, especially like if you're in an abusive relationship, like holy crap, like though that drives me up the wall when you hear about abusive relationships, mentally or physical, you know, if you can just see that, hey, the pain is going to be done if I can just, we can move on and walk away. You know, the guilt's still going to be there 2 days from now.
Yeah.
But if you could just let go in those moments. So I did feel that grace, to your point. Like I did feel that, knowing that the next step is going to be this, where, I think in a relationship, you can't say, hey, by the way, the next step is we're going to be broken up. You know, you don't say that. Who can say that with confidence unless you are emotionally and mentally prepared for the next step, you know?
I think that's why, like, I would say you can still honor someone's role in your life, but still walk away.
Yeah, I totally agree,
You know,
dude.
and whether that's, you know, whether that's losing someone, grieving someone, or being in a relationship, and even those abusive ones. You know, we talked about the abusive ones, the narcissistic behaviors, the physical abuse, mental abuse. You can still honor that person's role in your life. You know what I mean? Like they were probably a bad person, but you can still go into it and say, hey, yeah, they were a bad person, but damn, they taught me a lot. Honor
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Honor that, and you can still walk away. But, and I know saying it sounds easy, but it's not. And I get that. It's harder than it actually is.
Yep.
But I think it's one way to look at things to change that perception again.
Yep. You want to know a lesson I learned over the years, and the hard way? One of the lessons, not in relation, but in friendships, is I never borrow money. I never lend money to my friends, ever.
And no,
For years I was like, hey, can I?
you offer it though.
Oh, I do.
Yep,
Yeah. Do I?
Yeah.
When did I offer? Did I offer you money?
you did.
I did. It was probably for a sexual favor of some sort.
Yeah, you wanted pictures of my feet, but
Right. So but yeah, if you're buying something, that's totally fine. but no, like that's one of the things over the years I learned. I used to like, yeah, do you need a hand? Like, let me help you, you know?
yeah,
And recently a friend is going through something, and, you know, he was expressing himself on, times are tough, this and that. I can't afford this. I can't afford that, you know? And I'm like, oh, that's really sad. I said, hey, listen, if you ever need something that I can help you with, let me know. Like if you need money, let me know, because I have a ton of stuff that we can get done around the house here that I need help with. So if you want to work and help me, I would gladly pay you. There's some things that I can help you with there. That's the closest I get to that boundary, is like, oh, I'll help you, but you're going to work for it, you know? But that's one of the lessons I've learned, is like, nope, not going there anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So if people could take something in a relationship, you know, and say, wow, no, I don't do that anymore. You know, having someone stick their finger in my butt, it's not going to happen anymore. And the only reason I say that is because Pat brought it up in the past, and I'm never going to let them. I don't remember what episode was that when you were like, it was like, do you ever have a partner, And you're like, yeah, like sticking their finger in their butt. I'm like, oh my God, what? You went instantly right there. It's like we went right there.
It is what it is. It's an authentic show. It's a raw episode.
It's a raw episode. Fingers and butts.
There you go. But letting go with grace, coming back to that though. So like, you know, you can thank someone, I think, mentally without needing closure. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. You know, a lot of people, especially when the love is still there, they chase that closure. And one of the expressions that I absolutely adore that I've heard, it's an analogy that I've heard, right?
What?
If an analogy, Analogy?
Analogy.
Analogy.
Thank
Did
you.
I say annul? I said annul.
Yeah.
Analogy. Okay.
It's an annulment with an apology. It's called an analogy.
It's an analogy.
Analology. Okay, go ahead. What's your
So
analogy?
it goes like this. And I'm going to ask you in a form of a question. Okay.
Got it.
Say podcast. Say you're say you're walking in the tropical jungle, right? There's a bunch of poisonous snakes, right? There's a poisonous snake that bites you. Okay? It's poisonous.
Oh.
Great sound things right now. Are you going to chase that snake down to ask it why it bit you? Or are you going to run to the closest hospital to get healed ASAP because you know you're going to die?
Right. So literal answer to that question is if it's poisonous, I'm going to suck out the venom, first of all.
Okay,
However
so
I can.
You're thinking healing, right?
Healing. I have
You're
to
not gonna
suck the venom out. There's no way I'm making it to the hospital. Do you like snakes, by the way?
I don't mind them.
Really? That's so weird.
I
hate
don't
snakes.
like them, but
I don't like the way they move. Like when snakes slither, that's what makes me like. I wish they can just like go straight line.
I kind of dance like a snake, so I can relate to them.
Can you imagine seeing a snake that was just coming at you straight instead of slithering? That would be so weird. And be like, what the hell?
Okay, Mario.
I would
focus.
not.
Suck it.
I would not. Would I run to the hospital or chase the snake? That's
Yeah.
the question.
Like, yeah, or suck the venom, whatever.
Yeah, I would suck the venom. I
Suck
would
the
be
venom.
healing.
So,
I'd
so
be
your
trying to heal.
reflex is healing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the same thing in a relationship. If somebody hurts you in a relationship, whether it's a friend or a partner,
Yes.
you don't suck them off.
Yes, you
That's
suck.
not what you do. No.
If
somebody
someone,
hurts
make you mad in a relationship, you may suck. You
No.
have to suck it.
That's not how it works. It's not makeup sex. All right. If someone hurts you in a relationship, and why would you chase them to find out why they did that? Like, oh my God, you cheated on me or this or that. And you're just chasing them and you're like, why did you do it? Why did you? I'm trying to understand why you did it. I need closure. I need closure. No, fuck the closure. Fuck the closure. They hurt you. They knew what they were doing. Now it's time for you to heal as fast as possible. So just, again, Mel Robbins, let them. Let them do.
Them. The first time I heard that Mel Robbins that said that let them, it's like, well, maybe in some situations, and then you realize that it kind of works in every situation.
Every single one.
Like every single one. I saw another thing online yesterday when people that have talked about me in the past or people trying to break you down. Just like continue to let them do that, because the more they do that, the less they have to look at their own lives. How miserable are they, where they have to talk about something about you because they can't look at their own lives. So just let them, in that situation, another let them situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think there's an important part too in that. Like, I'm saying it kind of like it's easy, and it's not. By the way, I'm not saying it's easy. Mm-hmm. But when you think about that analogy, I love this. You think about that and you're like, well, wait a second, it's true. Like when you think about it like that, but you're not applying it. So I think it's also important to jot down the lessons that you're learning from. Yeah. Just so that you don't forget them. Go back to them. Like what's that lesson that it taught you right now? Like today, if you had an argument, go to that journal, write it down. What did you learn from it real quick? And then you can go back to it eventually at some point, because we also have to talk about tools on this episode.
Yeah.
It's nice to talk about things and where we're at now, how long it's been that we've been healing, but also, how long
Brutus.
it took for
Good
us
morning,
to
Brutus.
get there. Good morning, Brutus.
He's like, why are you up so early?
He's like, I'm learning lessons.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to jot them down and just go back to them when you need them. So if ever that situation rises again, what tools you had, and you can go back to them and say, oh, I know this situation and I remember how I got out of it, and this is how I got out of it. I think that's important too. Yeah.
And don't get complacent, even though you may remember like, oh, wait a minute, this is something that this is going to turn out to really be a bad situation. Even though you may say that to yourself, but you're like, I'm just going to try, see how this works for now. It's easier to catch yourself at the moment and do something about it in that moment before it gets too far along. Because if it gets too far along, you're just gonna be like, well, whatever. You're like, and then it's gonna hurt a lot more. Rip the Band-Aid off in that moment, like the second you feel it. Make it say, go bye-bye.
Go bye-bye.
Go bye-bye.
Go bye-bye.
What's your next analogy?
No more analogies, but
Analologies.
no more analogies. But I would say release that freaking fantasy of what could have been.
Yeah.
That's
Easier
that's
said
a
than done
major
there,
one.
big guy.
I know, and that's why I'm saying it, because this is a year in the making. It's still kind of there.
Yeah.
So I just want
Yeah.
people who are listening. Yes, I said it, but I also want to tell you it can be very long. So I think some people, they're like, when am I going to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Question. The answer is I don't know. I've been in it for almost a year, and that thought is still there. But like I said, you do get better at coping with it.
Yeah.
You
One
know?
of the most powerful quotes that I read and that my partner sent me, and then I read it in other formats in the past 2 years, was, if it
Time
could have
fixes everything.
happened, Jesus, if it could have happened anyway else, it would have.
Right. And I love that. I actually love that. Yeah.
If it could, we always think that anything in life, if it could have, you did not possess those skills to understand it, but if it could have happened anyway else, it would have. And
Right.
yes, timefixeseverything.com.
Also, but no, you're right. And like you said, I think it also works for everything, whether it's friendships, relationships, work,
100%.
goals,
Yep. 100%.
all that stuff. And
All that good stuff. So let's talk about the toolbox. What toolbox do people have to go to in a situation where, wow, I need to do this? Because the tools I think about right off the bat is what coping mechanisms do you have to get through those moments? What emotional coping skills do you have to go through those moments where it's time to make a decision? What do you do then?
There's two things that come to mind for me. And I think it's, I would say, mourn the version of yourself that stayed small to keep them.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Because that's really what happens, is like we belittle ourselves to stay in situations, right? Just for their own happiness. We forget about ourselves, right? We
Yeah.
forget about ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think you should take the time to mourn that version of yourself. And it doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of people that I've, and including myself, I've done this before. I was kind of jumping from one relationship to another, because I couldn't be alone.
Right.
Hated being alone.
Oh, yes.
You do not
Anxious
have
attachment
time.
handbook, page 1,
Yes.
chapter 1.
Yeah.
Never be
101.
alone.
For dummies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anxious attachment for dummies.
Yeah.
You jump from one relationship to another. So you don't really take the time to mourn that version of yourself. So you're just bringing it along with you in every single relationship.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
now, for me at least, now that it's been, almost 2 years where I've really been alone in my stuff with no distractions or whatever, dude, you have no choice but to go right through those emotions.
Right.
You have to live them.
Yeah.
And, they say, apparently statistically, it's about 2 years to forget the person that you don't forget them, but to move on from somebody that you absolutely loved,
Yeah.
It's
You know what's
a long
funny
time.
about when you said about moving, like you went from relationship to relationship, it doesn't, in an anxious attachment style, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in an anxious attachment style, you're not jumping from one bed to the next. You're jumping from situation to situation, because the bed thing for an anxious attachment is not about the sex. It's about that connection. It's that safety, and it's that warmth that you want. You want to be heard. You want to be valued. Would you say I'm wrong on that one? When you're
No,
saying
I was just gonna jump in and say we can change, because you said you don't jump from bed to bed, you jump from head to head.
Oh, damn. But head, depending what head you're talking about, though.
No, not that one. I'm just saying
Oh, okay.
you're jumping from head, like that's what you
Yes,
need. You
I
need
get it.
the person's.
Yeah. You want them. You want that. That's what you're addicted to. You're addicted
Yeah.
to that.
The
That's a hard
validation,
addiction
the-
to get rid of. I think that's a really, really, that should be, it's like sugar,
And there's no patches for that.
No, I haven't had sugar. Can you imagine a patch for that though?
For anxious
Oh, there is.
attachment?
I just saw that. It was on TikTok. They have patches for attachment now. The dopamine patches, where you can put those on. You get dopamine patches.
Get
You
out.
see
You're
that?
serious.
I'm dead serious. I saw it this morning. There's a dopamine patch
Oh.
that you can put on yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's like
no,
a
no.
yellow. It's like a little dopamine thing.
That's crazy. Okay, that's one tool.
Okay.
We talked about one tool. The other one I would say is, my light. I think my light is done. It is
okay.
what it is.
It is what it is. Let's go.
All right, so I think the other one is, you're not walking away from them. You're walking towards your own peace.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I totally agree. Yeah. And it's finding, and I think it's a different type of peace, like you remember, maybe you had a peace back then, but that peace is different when you're trying to walk towards that now because it's got some scars on it. You don't recognize it. It's like, damn, were you in a fucking fight? Who beat you up? Like, what's happening here? And it's like, hey, dude, I'm peace. Remember? Like, remember back before you met her or him? Like, you remember that feeling you had? It's like, that's you? Didn't even recognize you. Oh my God. And you take that piece and you start healing it a little bit. It's like, oh my God, let me get some cream on that cut. That's a deep cut. What happened? And then you start feeling that piece again. Eventually you heal that and you're like, okay, peace, we're ready. Let's do this again. But oh my God, remember the last one, look at a little scar. Remember your arms are a little shorter now because they had to take a chunk of your bone out because, let's go, peace. We got this. And then you move on. Finding those tools, you're just talking about it, like learning how to heal that,
You know what you just made me realize?
What?
Talking about scars?
What?
How physical scars are like so cool, right? You have like physical scars, like, oh damn, what's that scar? Like that scar tells a
Right.
story, right? We're all like, oh, that's so cool.
You got to make up a story, even if you hit it on like the fridge or something. You're like,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
But then when it comes to like your heart scars, it's not the same reaction. It's like, oh, you're damaged. Like, oh, that's, a turn off. You're damaged. Oh, you got triggers. Oh, you got trauma. It's not as cool,
Yeah.
right? But they're even worse, I find, the scars. So like, congratulations if you have that heart scarred, because that just shows how strong you are. And people don't see those ones,
Right.
And
And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk about those scars too, because those scars are the ones that make who you are. And don't be shy to share those things with someone in a new relationship because it's like, hey, I think those scars are built into boundaries. Look at us.
There you go.
The boundary started at a scar in a forehead. That sounds like a National Geographic thing,
And evolved into something beautiful.
something beautiful. Who is Patrick? Good day. Visit Clico.com.
Okay.
Like, what? How did that happen?
Nothing to do with it. That escalated so quickly.
Yeah.
All right. So another note that I wrote down here on this episode was that soulmates aren't always forever. I wrote that some soulmates come to activate you, not to accompany you.
Yes. I love that, Pat.
You know how
That's
sometimes
beautiful.
we say like, oh, in another life? You ever
Yeah.
heard that?
Yeah.
That's kind of
Like-
what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Like maybe in this life, you thought that they were your person or your soulmate, but they were just here to activate you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you get those feelings. I was talking to a friend about this yesterday. It's like sometimes when you have that feeling, like, man, this is I'm supposed to be here. We were meant to cross paths.
Yeah.
Like you start feeling and seeing those things better when you start to heal emotionally and mentally. You see like the people that are supposed to be in your life, not the toxic people, but you see, I think when you're emotionally damaged, everyone seems right. Everyone's like, oh, you're perfect. You're perfect. You're perfect. You're perfect. But when you start to heal and you start smelling something coming towards you, you're like, I don't think I like that.
And I think the longer you are by yourself,
Yeah.
the more you can smell them from far away.
Yeah. I'm sure your scent is, I'm sure your smelling power is like a German shepherd at an airport smelling for cocaine, dude.
Yeah.
These
You know how you
days.
can smell the skunk from so far?
How? Oh, yes. When you hit
Yeah.
it.
Well, no, that's close. But I'm saying the smell of a skunk, you can smell it from pretty far. Like, doesn't mean the
Yeah.
skunk is close.
Yeah, that's true.
But that smell, yeah, it just gets bigger. It gets
Yeah.
better.
Well, Pat, this was a great episode, by the way. And I'm really happy that you brought that up. Do you have more tools that you want to talk about?
Let me just check my notes here.
Okay, check your notes. I'll do a quick commercial. Well, at Got It Pod, if you need something to check your time with, you can visit Clico.com with multiple designs and sizes. New collection coming out late 2025. Visit Clico.com. And we're back. Wow, that was a great commercial.
Is there anything I would add? I mean, not in terms of tools. What I would say though is that there are people. I think for me, there's people that I'm always gonna love from a distance. But I don't need them in my life anymore.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I think when you can say that, when you can just like put
Just
it out
let
there.
them. Let them, dude. When Mel Robbins comes to studio, it's going to be a good let them day.
Damn.
It's going to be a really good let them day where we
We're
can
throwing-
talk about things.
Throwing that into the universe.
Just
Yeah.
throwing that on the universe. I want to have Mel Robbins. I want to have so many different people in studio with us, though,
Yes,
to talk about this
sirree.
stuff. But but on that note, I have to start my day because it is Friday, and I have to start my day now.
Do it.
I'm going to do it. And again, with all the clusters we had yesterday, I think this was a beautiful show. I think that we were able to get through a lot. I know that there's people that listen to you, Pat, and follow you that are raising money for a chair fund, and I'm really hoping that happens sooner than later because the noises that thing makes when you move around is something. And October's nearby, and the October show will be great because it'll sound like a horror show when you're walking through the door. I'm really looking forward to that new chair showing
Don't
up
buy a chair on Amazon.
eventually. And everything we went through, though, I think it doesn't matter because it happens for a reason, and this is a beautiful show. So I hope that everyone enjoyed this show and continue to share. The numbers and the analytics are incredible. Thank you to all our friends all around the world, from Australia to South Africa to Belgium to Portugal to the Netherlands, everywhere you're listening to the show. Thank you so much for listening. We love you, and we love that you're just continuing to follow us on this journey, on this beautiful journey that we're on. And to our Canadian and American friends on this side of the globe and South America, thank you so much. We appreciate. It's still not real to me that everyone's listening from so many different places, but I just appreciate every single one of you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's means a lot. It does mean a lot.
Well said. It does mean a lot. Thank you.
Pat, have a great day. Again, sorry about the snafu, but dude, that's what makes us amazing friends. So I love you and have a great day.
What does that mean?
Snafu is like a something like happens that's very quickly. Look it up.
First time I've ever heard that, but thank you. All right, I'm going to go to bed
Okay.
smarter tonight.
Okay. Love you,
All
brother.
right,
See ya.
love you, brother. Ciao. Ciao.